Senator Cantwell, Senator Menendez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Werfel, over the past year, I've led over 8 letters, many of them with a fair number of my colleagues, to the IRS about a range of customer service issues impacting taxpayers. I'm pleased that the IRS has implemented some of the measures that I've called for, like the expansion of overtime opportunities for IRS employees and creating surge teams, which have been critical in reducing pandemic-related tax return and correspondence backlogs. But as the new filing season begins, the IRS simply needs to do better. In 2022, a taxpayer who called the IRS had a 1 in 10 chance of speaking to a representative. Tax professionals have said that reaching the practitioner priority service is, quote, virtually impossible. So what do you consider an acceptable level of telephone service?
It's a great question. First of all, I'm going to lose sleep if I hear about one taxpayer who called the IRS and didn't get through. So in some ways, Senator, I feel, maybe this is unrealistic, but in my heart, I want it to be 100%. But I mentioned earlier, I think in response to a question from Senator Carper, the strategy, I think, should be to benchmark. What are the best-in-class, world-class customer service agencies achieving in terms of call rates? I want to understand how they measure it, and I want to beat those metrics if I'm confirmed.
Well, the National Taxpayer Advocate recommends an 85% level of telephone service as a minimum. Right now, as of February 10th, the IRS is answering 90% of calls. That's good.
That is.
But I want us to see a maintenance of that and hopefully a progression. Is that something you're committed to?
Yes.
And how do you intend to go about ensuring that the IRS is able to consistently provide this level of service?
Well, I look at the Inflation Reduction Act certainly as an opportunity to strengthen the overall resources that we have, increase customer service, technology that is strategically placed within the customer service solutions that are efficient, that get certain questions that taxpayers have can be answered by technology, and we should be putting those in place and testing those. So I think sustaining it is coming up with a strategy and implementing that strategy for a higher performing service apparatus, which involves improved process, hiring more people, training those people, improving technology. I think all of these things will be part of a plan that I hope to work with this committee on for improving service and, as you raise, sustaining it.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the efforts I've led here to try to have the resources, the chairman as well, for the IRS to do its job. Because in my view, the IRS is in the customer service business, and it needs to get back to basics. That means answering the phones, processing tax return, processing timely refunds, and which is almost along the lines of what people would expect of their elected representative. Answer the phone, give me a responsive answer to a mail that I sent you, and do it in a timely fashion. I want to echo, I understand that I was chairing a foreign relations hearing, but I want to echo the question of the topic of equity in tax administration. I think others may have referred to it, but that joint report from Stanford and the Department of Treasury found that black taxpayers are at least 3 times as likely to be audited by the IRS. Now, the agency doesn't collect data on race or ethnicity, but the disparity is attributed to the IRS computer algorithms that select the returns for audit. So at the same time, the IRS is known for low audit rates of high-income taxpayers and large businesses, which has led to an estimated gap in tax collections of nearly $500 billion. So do you plan on addressing these disparities that the IRS have confirmed?
Absolutely. I mentioned earlier, Senator, these are very concerning. Equity is a critical part of effective tax administration. We should be constantly understanding where activities are having a disparate impact on any particular group. It's particularly concerning if it's having a disparate impact on racial minorities. I will, if confirmed, work with the IRS to understand why this is happening, get to the root cause, and figure out solutions so that it doesn't happen in the future.
Good. Finally, taxpayers have a right to receive prompt refunds regardless of whether they file online or by paper. It's unacceptable that 13 million taxpayers who filed via paper waited an average of 6 months or longer to receive their refunds. As you can imagine, these delays cause taxpayers to feel confusion, frustration, experience financial hardship, all of which are preventable. In March, the National Taxpayer Advocate issued a directive requesting that the IRS implement scanning technology to ensure that taxpayers receive timely refunds while also saving the agency time, money, and resources. Scanning has been used by 17 state tax agencies for over 20 years. The benefits are clear. I'm pleased that Secretary Yellen has promised to move forward with plans to automate the scanning of individual paper returns. Do you commit the IRS to implement scanning technology for all individual paper returns by the 2024 tax filing season?
Senator, moving from paper to digital environments is an absolute priority. I know that they have started scanning and looked at scanning solutions. I want to, if confirmed, understand exactly where they are, but the commitment that I would have is that we should absolutely be pushing more paper to electronics, and I think scanning is the way to go.
Thank